Well, Syracuse, I'm kind of wondering what kind of Syracuse team we got showing up here. Was it the team that beat Central Connecticut State, or this team that showed that this Syracuse team could still be a comedy of errors with the second of our in-between opponents? I mean, think of the common theme for our first three opponents: Central Connecticut State, Middle Tennessee, Central Michigan. You know, we're all in between. But this in-between opponent had a little bit of intrigue. I mean, it's Stockstill. Brent Stockstill. He's a pro-rated quarterback, pretty good. Plus, guess who mans the defense for Middle Tennessee? Scott Shaper, coming back to the Dome. But boy, did we fall right into Scott Shaper's lap with the way his game plan was. And I kind of wonder, was that a football game or was it a comedy of errors? Because the truth is, Middle Tennessee did all they can to maybe hand us the game. I mean, all those turnovers in the first quarter and the first half. But of course, because this shows whoever's coaching the offensive line isn't doing a good job. I kind of wonder if he went to school to be a coach. Because you know what? He can't coach the offensive line worth a crap. Or maybe we don't have the athletes yet there in Dino Babers' image. But they couldn't open any holes for any of the running backs. I mean, heck, Dante Strickland, Mo Neal, even Dungy had all sorts of trouble trying to run through, except for that pretty touchdown that Dungy ran to tie the score. But in the second half, the pass defense wore down against Stockstill. And what happens? A 30-23 win by the Blue Raiders. Well, you know what that does? That pretty much puts a monkey wrench into any plan Syracuse might have had to go bowling. Maybe, hopefully, Saturday against the Chippewas of Central Michigan, maybe we can get back on track. Because they say after Shaper's defense helped win the game, guess what? He celebrated with a victory cigar. Oh, way to rub it in, you stubble-headed you-know-what. Of course, that's what happens. You can't be a good head coach, so you go back to being an assistant coach, and guess what? You're back in your element. And of course, since you recruited a lot of these guys, you kind of knew their strengths. And Dino Babers, I mean, come on. We got to start having schemes ready where we can open holes for the running backs, or else once we get to our ACC opponents, it's going to be a long season. Oh, let's hope we get back on track against Central Michigan, because it would be embarrassing if we can't beat the Chippewas. Of course, you can have Chippewas with dip. Oh yeah, I'd probably offend any of the Native Americans out there, but I digress. But I go from the way Syracuse played, to the yeah. Especially about how the Bills played against the Jets. But wait a minute, it's the Jets, the team that supposedly is tanking to get the first pick in the first round. And of course next year, we got a whole plethora of quarterbacks who's probably going to be available in the first round. Of course, we go out and we do a pretty impressive 21-12 win. Impressive in a way, because guess what? We could have put maybe 10 more points on the board. Of course, who knew that the ball was going to ricochet right to the Jets' defensive back? Of course, that interception wasn't Tyrod Taylor's fault, but of course, you could have heard this coming. That was the hoofbeats that Taylor was probably feeling because he know Nathan Peterman's coming down his back. But of course, Taylor kind of righted himself, but he's still showing he can improvise, but I don't think he's an elite quarterback. And of course, Steven Hauschka, who he signed to replace the guy who can't kick PATs. I mean, acting like he was a golfer on his field goal attempt. Who knew he was going to hook that wide left? Of course, that ball went like that. But I digress. A nice 21-12 win, but of course, it was just the Jets. And guess who Buffalo has got this week? McDermott's old team. The team he was defensive coordinator for 6 years. Ron Rivera and the Carolina Panthers. And of course, they got Cam, brother of Fig. Newton is the quarterback. And of course, Newton can make a lot of plays with his feet other than his arm. And it's down in Charlotte, so be ready. Thing is, hopefully, Jose is going to stay away from land, because that's the next hurricane that's coming towards the United States. We've already had our fill of those big cyclones, if you know what I mean. No more. And speaking of that, I go from talking about the Bills to talking about a problem that's going to be pretty big coming up. You know, with both Harvey and Irma having wreaked their devastation on Texas and Florida, they expect almost 1 million cars to flood the used car market. And I mean the flood cars. Cars that might look normal, but underneath, they got some problems. So anybody out there who's going to be shopping for a used car, you better look, because you know what? You don't want this to happen. Something amiss here. Go open up the hood. Motor's missing. Oh, I don't think that would happen in a flood car, but of course, you gotta watch it, because you know, those cars start rotting from the inside out, especially if they've been in a flood. You gotta watch yourself with those flood cars. And also, I mean, I wish all the luck to all the people down in Texas and Florida who were affected by these hurricanes. You don't like it when you see these natural disasters happen. But I go from talking about flood cars to talking about an interesting report. They did a study to see what happens when owners and their dogs sleep together in a bed. Of course, they don't see any big positive or negative swings. But the thing is, they say you have to watch it, especially if you got toy dogs in the bed with you. Because, I mean, they're the little guys, they're lively, but of course, size-wise, you don't know what could happen. Be interesting to roll over. And then all of a sudden you hear, and you don't hear nothing. You wake up in the morning, next thing you know, you got a fluffy pancake there on the bed. Oh, must have slept on him. Or if you got your wife with you, but when you get in the bed and all of a sudden say you got a St. Bernard. St. Bernard gets in the bed with you, and the thing is that St. Bernard starts licking the back of your neck, and you think it's your wife doing a little foreplay with you. You don't want that to happen. Oh, you're getting a little frisky, are you? And then all of a sudden, hun, who you're talking to? And then you look around and you see this big St. Bernard face. Ah! You don't want that. Of course, I mean, sleeping with dogs can be pretty good, but you know it can get pretty crowded, especially if you want to roll over and you bump into this big thing. And of course you hear, oh, excuse me, didn't know how to disturb your sleep. But you know, it's another one of those interesting facts. Yeah, pets are part of the family. But you know, sometimes you gotta know when to say when, especially when it comes to sleeping in the bed. But I digress. And that's all I really have to talk about this week. let's hope it's going to be a better week for the Cuse, especially against Central Michigan, and let's wish some luck to the Bills against the Panthers. And keep it up, Waterloo, and keep it up, Minders. Big wins this past week. I'm Ken Haas, and those are my stories.